So do you have a set markup that you'd be willing to share with us on a reproduction, or just kind of an idea that you can give people?
Yeah, I mean, I typically do 2.5 times cost.
Okay.
I mean, that I find works really well for me. It, because what I've done now is so I tried the state fair.
Yep.
While the state fair is amazing, and I went this year and I love it, and I love having my art as part of it. Going back to business, I think what's important to establish as a business owner, whether you're in art, photography, cookies, is understanding your audience and and what they're doing in a particular area. Like I do a lot. I don't know if you're going to get to this in a minute, but art fairs, and so that's where I tend to find is my audience, and so. Where am I going with this? That the state fair was fantastic, but it wasn't quite my jam.
Right.
But what I ended up doing was I ended up producing a lot of fantastic merch, and pint glasses and tote bags, and that allowed me to go out, and I now have a large retailer pool. So I sell to Rose and Loon. They're a fantastic store in Rosedale Mall, and I have a few other retailers I work with, and I think. What I want to do is keep my pricing. This is where I was going with this, Matt. I've come back around. Full circle. Is that I want to have enough of a margin that I can sell at wholesale and maintain that same price with that retailer as they would pay if they bought from me.
Got it.
So that's been really important, because now people, all they need to do is they go into a retail and they can jump on your website or Etsy, and they can say, hey, they're selling it $10 cheaper.
Right.
And then you're stealing it away from the retailer. So I found that maintaining those relationships is super important. So keeping your price points the same across the board is a good way to go.
Yeah, so just staying completely consistent across all platforms.
Yeah.
So since you brought up your website, do you do a lot of sales through your website, or is that more of a billboard of this is what I can do, and this is my activities I'm engaging in?
Years ago, I used to use Squarespace, which was fantastic. But what happened is that I've got a lot of diversity in the product offering that I go into, and so there wasn't a robustness with that website that I needed. I then switched across to Art Storefronts, which is a great platform specifically built for artists. And what I find is that I make decent sales through there. It tends to be the higher priced items. So the larger metals, I sell originals on that platform, but then Etsy has been a great place for me to sell, and that's been, that they work in conjunction with each other, and Etsy tends to be $100 and under, really easy to kind of move prints and that type of merch or that type of reproduction. Right,
and just so everybody listening knows too, we work with a lot of people who are vastly successful on Etsy, tremendously. So that platform must be very user-friendly.
It is, and I think my website I think is great. I spent weeks putting it together. What I don't have that Etsy has is, they've got an amazing team of people working behind them, just like your team here, that is really geared at getting their creators out there. Right. And so their marketing budgets are huge. They have a global reach. I sell to Europe and Australia and Canada on Etsy, and they people will be going there really looking for something, and they will be able to kind of pull from hundreds of people if they type in 80s artwork, and then they're able to find me there, where they may not have that same luck if they just go to Google and go, hey, I want to find this, and my website will come up, So Etsy, is a fantastic platform for really a large reach. And there are some tricks to that, and there's some great tutorials. Like, you need to have 50 plus products, and you really need to kind of invest in that and refresh. But it's a wonderful platform, and I love it. It's been really good for me.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So on the opposite end of the spectrum, for your in-person and getting to know people and repeat clients, how much of your business is made up from that client?
Yeah. So pre-pandemic, 80% of my revenue really came from art shows and going around the country, certainly in the Midwest, and doing art events. There are some, big outdoor art fairs held around the country.
Yeah.
And so these are your typical 2-day weekends. Where you go in, you set up your white booth, you put up your work, and you get a chance to really connect with people.
Yep.
And I find online, my work, I think, looks great, but people don't quite understand it.
Yep.
But when they're able to see it in person, they understand the layering, the texture and the paper element to it, and that really helps my sales too.
Definitely.
And then you do get a lot of return customers coming back.
Hey everyone, thanks for checking out White House Custom Color on YouTube. Check out for the information below, and also don't forget to smash that subscribe button.